Hey hippies, welcome back. It's Courtney Shavante and I'm back with another tutorial. If you're new here, make sure you do hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so that way you don't miss anything that I do put out for you guys moving forward. So today we are going to be doing another Cannabling ashtray. This one is going to be like an electric third eye chakra Cannabling, like kind of inspired type vibe that we got going on here. So what we're going to do first is we're going to be placing our charms like we always do. You're going to just go ahead and pour about 20 to 30 milliliters of your resin into the rim, and you're going to just make sure it's a nice bubble free layer, and you want to make sure it's even as well. So you're going to get in there with your heat gun if necessary. That's going to help thin out the resin. It's also going to help pop any bubbles and bring them to the surface if they do kind of collect in the corners and everything. You can also get in there with a little toothpick as well and then kind of go around each corner. Just make sure you touch each side where the bubbles can form, because with this particular mold the bubbles do get trapped in the corners pretty easily. So yeah, just keep going on, continue through, and once you finish with that, you can go ahead and start placing your charms face down. I have some owls and some crown charms that I am placing into the tips of the leaves, and I'm going to just make sure I use my toothpick and everything to get it where I want. It did cut out, but we've placed charms plenty of times before, so just continue placing those and everything. What I'm going to do on this step after this cures is we're just going to go ahead and mix up this resin, and then after we get this resin nice and bubble free, we're going to add in this glitter mix. This is my glitter mix in Fantasy Ride. It is available on my Etsy shop if you are interested, so make sure you do check that out because it will be linked below. Go ahead and stir that into your resin and make sure that you do get all the bubbles out, and then just pour that right on into the rim on top of the previous layer that we let cure before. You do want to be careful not to pour this onto the base, just because it makes cleanup a little bit harder later, and just makes things a little bit more difficult. Why make it hard for yourself? So just go ahead, continue on. You'll have to go through with the toothpick again like I showed you in the last step to help pop all the bubbles and everything. But after you do that, you're just going to spray a little bit of alcohol if necessary, and then let that cure as well. Alright hippies, so after we let that cure, what you're going to do is you're just going to go ahead and mix up a little bit more resin, and then you're just going to pour about half of that clear resin. For this layer I'm making about 40 milliliters here. On the previous layer I did 60 just for reference and everything. But yeah, you're just going to go ahead and pour about half of that 40 milliliters in there, thin it out with the heat gun, and make sure it's nice and bubble free and perfect for your little pearl chain to just drop into. Go ahead and go through with the toothpick again to make sure that you get the bubbles from around the corners. Like I said before, the bubbles can get trapped there very easily with this particular mold. Now I did go ahead and pre-cut this off camera to size, but you just use some normal scissors to just go ahead and cut this pearl chain, and you can place this into that clear resin that you poured into that rim. Use your mix stick to push the pearls down into the resin. They do tend to float, so be mindful of the size that you cut this pearl chain to, just so that way you can make sure they're not floating to the surface and everything. Use that stick to go ahead and push them down and make sure everything's even. Once you have everything placed how you want it and everything, you can go ahead with that remaining resin in the cup, get the other half and just pour that right on top to just go ahead and set that on in there. Yeah, go ahead and scrape your cup because no resin left behind. You don't want to waste any product or anything, so make sure you're scraping at the sides of the cup because you should be mixing it very well, so you should be able to scrape at the sides of the cup. Spray your alcohol so we can release any bubbles and pop those, and then you're just going to let this layer cure as well. Alright, so once everything is nice and clear, you're going to make sure that, you know, the base of the mold is completely clean. So off camera, I did go over it with some tape and everything, just pulling some tape up off the mold, the surface of the mold and everything, to pull off any resin bits that may have been there from any residue. So what you see me doing now is I flip the medicine cup over and I just place that in the center, so that way I can make sure that none of the pigment powder that I am using to brush outside of this medicine cup here gets inside of the medicine cup. Yeah, that's the purpose of the medicine cup. So just go ahead and continue using the pigment powder and the paintbrush to paint that on there. You want a nice even coat because this is going to be like a mirrored surface and everything. This is a chameleon powder, which I always have linked to below in my captions and everything. I do get it off Amazon, so do make sure you check that out below, so that way you can get the exact one that I use. And yeah, I'm just going to make sure that I have it nice and even and everything. Make sure there aren't any empty spots, and then just go ahead and pull that medicine cup off, and we're going to go ahead and move on to our very next step. Now I went ahead and prepped about 150 milliliters of resin here, and I'm just going to pour half of it into this cup of mica powder here, and I'm going to mix that up really well. I do it half and half like this, so that way it just helps to make the mixing process a lot easier. It helps make sure there aren't any clumps from the pigment powders or anything like that. Go ahead and toss in some of the black alcohol ink too, and just stir everything in. Mix it very well. Make sure you have it nice and dark because you don't want this to be see-through. You want it to be nice and opaque. Once you have enough in there, you want to go ahead and pour in the remaining of the resin, the remaining of that clear resin that you had mixed up, because we're going to turn that whole 150 milliliters black, and we're just going to continue stirring that in so we can make sure that the clear resin is pigmented as well. From here, you're just going to go ahead and pour this directly into your mold. So you want to pour starting in the center where your little circle is, because it's just going to help make sure that none of the pigment powders transfer over into that area, because we're going to be doing something with that a little bit later. So just go ahead and continue pouring this slowly in here. Spray your alcohol if necessary to go ahead and pop any bubbles, and then we're going to let that cure. Alright, so what I did was I went ahead and let that cure. So we're going to wiggle this from our mold. What you want to do is just pull at the sides here. Make sure that you are careful, because you don't want to, you know, cut your fingers or anything on the edges of the tray. The edges can get very sharp with this particular mold and everything. So you're also going to want to sand those down as well. So keep that in mind. I don't actually do that on camera here, but do make sure you sand down, you know, the itty bits and everything, and pull those extra pieces off. And that's just going to, you know, help make it easier on your fingers, because I don't want you guys cutting your fingers like I have so many times before. So once you pull up the edges, you should be able to pop that right on out. You want to go ahead and push the mold over to the side, and this is what we have here. Alright, so what we're going to do next is we're going to take our Pebeo outliner, you know it, and this is in the silver color, and this silver color is really pretty. I'm going to be imitating this right here. This is my inspiration, just some lightning storms and everything. So I'm going to do the main like line here, I'm going to make it really thick. I'm going to do one on each leaf. It's going to be kind of stemming from the center where the where that black circle is and everything. So you just want to do that one dark line, and this is when you're going to kind of be pushing the tube kind of heavy. Now, after you finish doing those dark lines and everything, you want to come in with some accent lines. And how you're going to do the accent lines is you're just going to apply less pressure than what you did when you did the main lines, when you came in with that step that we just did and everything. So, use your judgment here. Like I said, I pulled up some pictures of some lightning storms just so I can kind of get a feel of what it would look like and everything, and try to make it look as natural as possible. And yeah, so this is just what I'm going to be doing on this step and everything. So I'm going to let you guys enjoy the time lapse of me performing this, and I guess drawing this and whatnot. So go ahead and enjoy the music and what I'm doing. Watch the technique so you can grasp it, and I will catch you on the very next step after we let this completely dry. Alright, hippies, so once that's dry, what we're going to do is you're going to just go ahead and take this Brightone here in a pipette and take some fine glitter. I have a glitter mix that I whipped up right quick in this silver color, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into not quite a pasty texture, but I want it to be more runny and everything. So I'm going to go around the outer rim of this circle here, and I'm just going to paint this glitter around this black circle and everything, kind of from where the lightning bolts are kind of coming and stemming from and everything. So that's what you want to do here. Just go ahead and go through in a nice little circle. You want to use a fine tipped brush, and you just want to take your time here. I do have it sped up, but make sure you are taking your time with these steps, and make sure you have a nice considerable amount of the silver glitter there, and it just kind of makes sense, and you have that nice ring. Now I'm going to be doing the same thing with this purple fine glitter. It's like a purple and blue and black and glitter mix that I whipped up as well to kind of complement the colors that I have going on in the tray. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same exact thing. I just kind of brushed off the brush on a napkin off screen, and then I'm coming in with this fine purple glitter, making a paste in that same consistency and doing a little inner ring right inside of that silver ring. It may be a little bit difficult to see on here due to the colors and everything, but you just want it to you really want the rings to be touching. So yeah, just get in there with that purple and make it a nice tight circle right in that silver glitter. Now what you're going to do to just jazz this up and make it even more interesting, you're going to take a toothpick, and you're just going to take this toothpick and you're just going to drag the colors in and out and into each other. So you don't want to over blend it. So what I'm kind of doing is I'm pulling the silver outwards, and I'm pulling the purplish black blue inwards and everything. I'm adding in if I need to, just to make sure it's the consistency I need to pull it out. I'm creating these cute little randomized peaks and everything, and just really dragging this fine glitter out. That's why I did use a fine glitter for this step and everything, so I could make sure it just really does what I need it to do for this effect. So I hope how I am explaining this is making sense to you guys. Of course, you know, you're always free to leave any questions or comments into, you know, the comment field for me and everything. So that way I know if you like need any further explanation on any of the techniques I am doing. If there's anything I can ever be more clear on, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to help. But yeah, so you just want to continue, you know, going in with that toothpick and everything, and making sure that you drag everything out and just kind of blend those colors into each other. Once you get it how you like it and everything, you can leave it be and just let it dry. You want it to dry completely. All right, so now that that is completely dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take our little sticker here. This is just like kind of a little third eye chakra symbol, and what I'm going to, I accidentally dropped it, but it's just like, it's not really a sticker, it's just really just like a little metal emblem. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place this in the center here. It's very beautiful. It's in like this little lotus pattern. It's just gorgeous. And I'm just going to add some resin around it and everything. I'm going to start over here where this glitter center is, because that's going to be the part that's going to hold the most air bubbles and everything. So I'm sorry that my hand is in the way. I was not paying attention, didn't realize that, but I did move it for you guys. So yeah, and now you can see what I'm doing. But I'm just like really pressing this down and everything, and what I'm doing is trying to make sure that I do make sure to kind of touch every little nook and cranny and the little corners and stuff, because this is also going to act as a doming layer as well, and just seal everything on in and make sure we have a nice even surface here. And you know, you can ash in this beautifully and whatnot. Yeah, so just go ahead and, you know, make a nice even surface and everything. Get in there with your heat gun if necessary too, just to blow that around and whatnot, and make sure you blow any bubbles out that do form and everything. Now, if you guys hear anything in the background, like we have kids over right now. You know, I have a little 11-year-old. He has his friend and his brother over right now. So I have 3 11-year-olds. So you're going to hear some doors slamming. You're going to hear some feet running in the background. But that is what's going on. So, yeah. But here's what we have going on here right after everything cures. This is the center of our tray, and it is absolutely beautiful. I really love how this emblem turned out, like in the center. I really love how this glittering is just surrounding it and everything. I love how this chameleon powder is just like really perfect in the background and acts like a little mirrored surface. Like when you look at the sides, you can see that pearl chain that we added there, and I feel like that's just absolutely beautiful. Like it just adds another interesting little layer here. I love how the black looks onto the sides and everything. A little bit of that chameleon powder got mixed in it and looks really good. Fantasy Ride, you know, I suggest you guys go ahead and snatch that glitter up from my Etsy shop before, you know, it runs out, because it's been getting favorited a lot and it's been getting ordered a lot, and it's in a limited supply. I probably will not remake that particular glitter, so make sure you grab one. But I love how these charms look. I love how these electric bolts look. Like, I am obsessed with these electric bolts. I can't wait to bring these out into another tutorial. Are you guys really liking it? Because I totally am, and I've never seen anything like this before, and I've definitely looked. Like, I've been trying to get out here and get some inspiration and everything, but I'm finding more inspiration in nature than anything. But as always, hippies, make sure you leave me a like and a comment and everything. I love hearing from you guys, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your support. Until next time, XO. Mwah.